Hey, what's up? It's Comic95, the Savior. Y'all, this is gonna be a rant. I have so much to talk about. It's probably gonna be at least a 1 hour video, if not longer. There's a lot to go over for this. And I first want to start off by telling you I already made a video on this topic that I will link down below. I highly suggest that you watch that video before you watch this one so that this will make more sense to you. But, yeah. For those of you that are new to my channel, this is not made to be politically correct. Feelings will get hurt. Don't get too deep and too much into yours. Obviously, as the title says, I'm going to be talking about Asians, and in particular, Japanese people. This is not to start a race war or to make you feel bad about your race or your nationality or anything else, but rather, I'm not going to sugarcoat and sweet talk things to make it sound good to avoid hurting your feelings at the expense of my own. I do not like the idea of doing that, and that is one thing that I strongly disagree with as far as how a lot of liberal media likes to handle things. I will also tell you right now, I do not go either way. I don't like Democrats. I don't like Republicans. I am on nobody's side here, so let's also clarify that. But I can also admit there are things that I strongly dislike from both sides. And I find that the argument that constantly gets brought up is, oh, well, that's not true for me, or it's not true for my partner or my friend or the people that I work with, etc. And it's like, you don't know what's going on inside of their mind. You don't know how they were raised or if they're even really being honest with you or not, present day. Beyond that, a really big problem that people tend to have, I'm going to try to keep my voice calm, being the exception does not make you the rule. And I've given this example several times on my channel. So for example, I am living inside of a penthouse in Tokyo, Japan. I am a black woman. I am single. I'm not living with my husband or somebody else paying my bills. It's all on me. If I'm late on something, I'm responsible to pay it, nobody else. I would be classified as the exception and not the rule. The average foreigner could not do what I'm doing. I haven't even worked a regular job in 3 months. The average foreigner cannot say that. If that were their case, they'd be back home in their home country. They would not be able to sustain this lifestyle. Okay, I am not rich. I'm not saying that to brag or to show off, but I'm giving an example of how I am the exception and not the rule. Another example is the majority of American foreigners that are here in Japan, they're not broke and poor like how I was. They came here with mommy and daddy's credit card and money, and they're living here basically rent-free. Their parents are handling their share house bills. Their parents send them care packages every month. They have everything put together for them. This isn't to make you feel bad about your situation, but rather to say, I will be the exception and not the rule. The average American cannot relate to me. They came here to Japan with money. They have support. They have help. Many of them even have Japanese language ability. I have that stuff now, but I didn't have that when I first came here. Once again, making me the exception and not the rule. My circumstance does not count for everybody. Okay. Now that we have that out of the way, we're talking about generalizations here. We're not going to be politically correct. In some circumstances, stereotypes, generalizing, kind of good. It kind of saves your life. You need to know what you're getting yourself into. If you're going to avoid using stereotypes and generalizations, you can end up getting yourself killed. For example, to say, well, I don't want to generalize everyone. Everyone in the city isn't a gangbanger or a bad person. All right, well, good luck having your wallet and iPhone 20 sticking out your back pocket and not getting robbed. Do you see what I'm saying? You might want to carry yourself differently depending on where you are. Alright, but then there's also the side where stereotypes just become purely based off of racism and not a matter of logic and protecting yourself, and simply a matter of trying to justify why you are better, more superior than someone else, or why you have the right to mistreat, lie, manipulate someone else based off of stereotypes you believe towards them. And that is what I really want to talk about in this video, as I kind of have already talked about in that last video, as I already made, like, what was it, like a year? I think it was like 2 years ago or something. So we're going to revisit that topic, and the reason being is I was on Tinder just this morning, and I got a message from somebody saying something that was really out of line. And I guess before I jump into Tinder, let me also explain these things to you, because a lot of people I know are going to have their own 2 cents stories, just as some people did in my comment section on that last video, so let me clarify. Tinder is a dating app. It's not made for hooking up. Let me say that again. Tinder is a dating app. It's not made for hooking up. If you actually read their statement for the purpose in their app, it does not mention anything about casual sex or hooking up. That was not the intention in the app, and it remains that way to this very day. Also, to back up what I'm saying, if you look at the rules for Tinder, it literally discourages anything related to doing that, to having, not so much rather of having casual sex, but even that too. It's made for people to be able to match with people based off of looks and proximity. Not a matter of looking for people to have one-night stands with, but as always, men tend to ruin dating apps because that is their purpose. And so what has that done? It's given Tinder a bad reputation for being used for hooking up, having casual sex. That does not change what the purpose in the app is. Tinder has the strictest rules out of any dating app. It is extremely easy to get permanently banned from the app. Reasons that they give you to report accounts are people that have sent you sexual, messages, sexual bios, literally anything that goes underneath the category of you trying to arrange to do some, playful type activities with another human being can get you banned. If the purpose of the app is for you to do that, why would they ban you for trying to arrange these things? Think about that to yourself. There are tons of videos and services for people to get their account unbanned, and loopholes and tricks to how to, trick the system and make a new account. They're very strict. You can't just use, a new email, a new Facebook account. No. They have it down to a science. People are literally having to buy brand new phones to download the app in order to play game on people again. Okay, so now that we have that out of the way, and we also want to, I want to clarify that again. People misusing and abusing a product does not change the product's intended purpose. That's factual. That's like, they have, massagers that are literally made to massage your back, your arm, whatever. If you choose to put that massager on your freaking clit, it doesn't make it now a you-know-what toy. You're just misusing it. I can't buy a PlayStation 5 controller and put it on my fat ma and be like, oh, I guess this is a vibrator now. Like, come on, girls, everybody, let's do this. Does it change it's made to be a console controller? No. You're the freak and the nasty hoe that decided to put it on your genitals. That's not the purpose in it, though. Okay, this is the same thing. You being a dog and deciding that you're going to use this to try to, meet girls, that's on you. And when I say meet girls, I mean meet girls for that purpose. That's on you. Of course, as with any adult relationship, sex is normally a part of a relationship. It goes without saying. So it's not a matter of saying that you have to only go on dates. But if your purpose is to just cheat on your spouse or on your girlfriend or to casually hook up with people, that's not the purpose in the app. They don't even give you that option on the app. In fact, unlike OkCupid, because OkCupid even gives you the option for, short-term dating hookups, etc. Tinder doesn't even have that. So, we ain't going to talk about that. That's not the whole purpose in this video, but I just want to give some backstory because people like to justify and create fallacious arguments to be like, well, he only did whatever because it's this app. And that's besides the point. That is completely irrelevant. Also, that wouldn't have anything to do with what I'm about to say right now. My problem was, I was talking to this Japanese guy. He's either the same age as me or a year younger because my birthday's a little bit confusing. I'm literally born just a couple of days. Excuse me, guys. Sorry. I'm literally just born a couple of days. I have like a hair. Okay, sorry. Yeah, let's take a look. Why did I feel something in my mouth? I'm literally born just a couple of days before 96. So going to school, I mostly went to school with children. Well, it's a good mix because most people are born in October. So my class was always split in half, where half of the kids are born in 95. The other half is born in 1996. So if you're born in 96, we're the same age, basically. We went to school together in the same classroom. So I have what they call a late birthday in the U.S. This dude was 25. I don't know when his birthday was. He could have I think he was also Capricorn with me. So if that's the case, then yeah, he is a year under me. So I don't remember. I have to look back at it. But back on subject. Besides the point, he's basically my age. He's 25 years old. And I'm 26 as of the making of this video. And the dude messaged me starting off by saying, oh my god, you're very beautiful. And, I think he was pretending to have some things in common with me or whatever. I think he literally just told me that I was very beautiful. And, to start off the conversation, just giving me a compliment, saying hi to me. And then after that, he messaged me back asking me if it was okay to use Japanese. And normally my reaction is to say, well, I normally just don't bother with it. It's like, why is that a first question for you to ask if we're already talking in Japanese? But then it's okay. I kind of understand the purpose in it. You're trying to decide if you should continue the conversation with that. But my problem is, normally when people ask that, they don't speak English. So it's like you're using this as an excuse to cut off the conversation and not a matter of trying to cater the conversation to finding a language that works best for me as the girl that you were talking to. So I'd say, like, you know, fuck it. Why waste my time going back and forth using Google Translate if I can get you to do it on my behalf? I'm using Tinder on my desktop. So I told him no. And then he asked me where was I from. And I tell him in Japanese that, you know, I'm from America. The first message this man sends back to me is him telling me directly, not asking me, telling me, that's great. It's good that you're American. Because that means you're going to ask me to have sex a lot. What? I literally had to think for a second because I'm like, did I misunderstand something? How did we... You jump from asking me which language is okay to use. Then you go from that to asking me where am I from. Then after you find out I'm an American, no compliments on my culture or country. Nothing about, oh, I like American movies or music. I've always wanted to go to America. Nope. The first thing that comes across your mind is, oh, great. Now I have a girl that's going to be begging me for sex. What type of thought process is that? Who thinks that way? Wow. And if it's not enough that you think that way, how can you be so ignorant to openly say that? Who would say such a thing to somebody like that? And so I honestly did send back another ignorant message, but I corrected him saying that that's a very ignorant statement and that I'm disappointed. I thought he'd be intelligent because he was Japanese. And I told him that Japanese people have casual sex more often than Americans do. The difference is two things. I didn't go into this part of detail, but I did say they do have it more often. And he was like, oh, really? Like, you think so? Which is Japanese for I disagree, but I'm not going to say I disagree. And then I sent him a long message back explaining stereotypes and then telling him, how I was ignorant and telling him, like, that'd be the equivalent of me saying that, you know, basically you're small and feminine and this, that, and the other because you're Asian. And of course, he didn't reply back to. I ended up unmatching and reporting him. But I wanted to go into further detail talking to you guys. This is my problem that I have with Asian people, and specifically Japanese people. And let me also clarify what I mean by Asian. If you are living in the U.S., born and raised there, or the U.K., or any other European country, I'm sorry to bust your bubble. I know that you guys like to capitalize on saying, oh, I'm Japanese, I'm whatever, because it sounds cool. But you saying that you're Japanese when you were born and raised in America is the equivalent of me saying that I'm Cameroonian when I was born and raised in America. Like, I have no associations to that country besides my DNA. I didn't live there. I wasn't raised there. And I can't... Do they speak French? I don't know what language they speak. But with that said, do you get what I'm saying? You're not. By DNA, sure, but it's misleading to present yourself that way. But we ain't gonna talk about that. So anyway, my point is, I'm not getting on Asian Americans. You are American just like how I am. I'm talking about specifically Asian people that are living overseas. They do not have the same thought process as you because unlike you, they have not lived as minorities. They have not really been exposed to other people either. And I'm not using that to cover up their ignorance and say, oh, well, they don't know any better, because they definitely have the options to learn better. Some things you can give ignorance pass and be like, oh, well, they really just didn't know better. But then there's a fine line between something getting a pass or just being ignorant of the topic. As I gave myself as an example, I used to ask my Korean friends when I was in college, like, before I came to Japan, hey, like, can you teach me how do you say this in Korean? What does this song mean? I didn't think anything of it. But I didn't go around and say, hey, can you show me how small your dick is so I can laugh? Or, hey, can you try to open up your eyes real big for the camera? Like, I didn't do shit like that. That was just common sense. It's racist. I don't need somebody to teach me that. I did need somebody to teach me how it feels for people to ask you to teach their language. I did need somebody to teach me why it's wrong to refer to somebody as being Oriental. And I didn't even call people Oriental, but I didn't think it was a bad word. So, what's wrong with saying that? Like, you know what I mean? Or even like the term Jap, like things like that. But we ain't gonna talk about that. So back on subject. I literally had to I know this man did not just say that. And like I said, after I unmatched him, I literally feel disgusted because I was eating my breakfast. I had to hurry up and speed eat my food because I got to make a video on this while this is fresh on my mind. I do not understand how an entire country that has opportunity and benefits that we did not have in America Most of us did not have the opportunity to have a native Spanish speaker from Mexico come and teach us Spanish in our classrooms. Japanese people not only have that opportunity, but they've been given it since junior high school, and for many of them, from kindergarten. Because the majority of you, if your parents aren't dirt poor, and even then, you went to an international school for kindergarten. You had English lessons after school. You had Saturday school lessons. Your parents might have even taken you to the military bases just to expose you to foreigners and English speakers. Your parents might have even spoken to you in English because they learned English as a kid. Like, whatever the case is, I've seen it and done it all. I've been an English teacher before. And I've worked at an international school. How can people that spend so much time around foreigners and forget about being around them in real life? Your media is all foreign. They, literally, it's really weird to think about. Nobody talks about this as much as they should. Japanese people mostly watch American media. They listen to mostly American music, watch mostly American movies. The only thing they don't do mostly American is, I guess you could say, they're video games. But video games are not common for people to do here. It's literally a subculture of freaks, and video games are treated like how games are treated back in the 80s. It's shameful, 70s, 80s type stuff. Only nerds did it. Cool people don't play games. And the people that did like and play games, they did it as a child. As an adult, you don't do it. It's normally a clear sign that you are a low-life loser with no career, no college education, no pussy. Okay. With that said, people normally either don't play games at all or they try to downplay their knowledge of video games to avoid seeming uncool or whatever. So, anyway, back on subject. I'm just so amazed at the racist, prejudice, stereotypical, ignorant things that people say. And if you're wondering why that was so problematic, my issue is not the fact of, Americans liking sex. I mean, who doesn't like sex? I love sex. Japanese people do too, though. But the problem is that it's pushed off onto us as Americans, but really any nationality. We're talking about myself because I'm an American. And that's what this conversation was about. But they use it to justify mistreating foreigners. And I talked about that inside my other video that I told you guys I was going to link down below. They use it to justify mistreating us by saying, well, you guys like having sex, so I didn't think it was wrong to pretend like I want to be your boyfriend or to, talk to you explicitly about sex or to tell you what I want to do to you, etc. They literally use it for that. And if you tell them, they'll never admit to it. They're not going to be honest about it. But that's what they do. I've been there, done that. Been in Japan for nearly 10 years. I speak from personal experience. Okay? And so with that said, it's like, all right, now imagine if we did that to you. And the sad thing is, their little dumb brains, shall I say big brains, some fat ass heads they got, they can't comprehend what's wrong with doing that until it happens to them. And it's really funny because as Americans, we are constantly stereotyped as being ignorant of other countries and cultures. But the more time I spend abroad here in Asia, I'm like, Asians have to be some of the most racist, ignorant people I've ever met. And goddamn, shoot, you think it's white people, but the longer I stay here in Asia, I'm like, shoot, either y'all are in first place or you sure are trying your hardest to get first place for it. Because their level of ignorance is astounding. And the craziest thing is, you get two different extremes. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. They will oftentimes apologize when they say and do racist things when you bring it to their attention, unlike white people that tend to defend it. But I will also be real. The longer I've stayed here, I've dealt with a fair amount of Asian people that will try to defend their racism. For example, with that guy, he didn't apologize. It was just, oh, really? You think so? They're just not capable of saying sorry when they say and do racist things. They don't think it's racist. What's wrong with what I said? I was telling the truth. You know what actually is true, and not based off of a stereotype, but is the general truth? Asian men are small. Their hands are small. Their feet are small. Their dicks are small. Their heads are fucking big. Their teeth on average are yellow and fucked up. Would I say that to you? No. I can keep it to myself. I ain't gotta share that. I don't even think this in my mind when I'm talking to an Asian man. It's not crossing my mind to even like think, oh, I have to hold this to myself. I do not think in my mind, oh great, I have an Asian boyfriend. Wow, your dick is so small, you'd never break my hymen. I don't have to worry about people thinking that I'm not a virgin anymore after fucking with you, because you, shoot, that little pecker ain't gonna stretch me out. Like, do you hear what you're saying to me? And the really dumb thing is, it's like, how is the stereotype fallen onto Americans or foreigners, period, being crazy over sex? Oh, sorry, I just got a new email. But anyway, crazy over sex, when it's like Japan and Asia in general is known for their, you know what, their corn industry. So how are we stuck with that stereotype? Secondly, you guys are known for Mers getting on trains and touching people. You guys have dress codes that have built into it that little girls need to wear white underwear and bras to avoid grown men imming them. Your anime and cartoons explicitly show adults in the action of doing things to each other, imming people, and it's joked at and laughed about. Look at Dragon Ball, Ranma, tons of other new shows. We don't even allow that type of stuff. You can't even say things like hell in children's cartoons. Look at anime. Do y'all not see how super sexualized your shows are? For children. You can read corn in any store you go into. Go to any convenience store. It is right there on the window. Junior high students, high schoolers go in there. But you guys don't have the problem? And it's on us? Oh, we're the ones who like having checks. Interesting. It's actually, prostitution is legal here. They have brothels all over every major city. And before somebody says, it's not legal, shut up, it is. The police turn a blind eye to, there's whole buildings and establishments. They have African touts and Japanese. They have, y'all, this blew my mind when I came here. There are literally information buildings, meaning that these places are making enough money, or they're government funded. They can house an entire store whose purpose is to direct you to where the love hotels, escorts, prostitutes, where those things are. Do you see the issue? That does not exist in America. Maybe in Vegas we might have that. You ain't gonna find that in Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, Houston, Miami. What? Not to mention, you are aware that the reason why people like Asian women is not because they think they're these little cutesy puppy dolls and, you know, whatever you want to call it, Hello Kitty. No. Most foreign men like Asian women because of corn. They believe that you are going to be the submissive, itty bitty, tiny, tight pussy, itsy bitsy girl that's borderline P-word type stuff for these nasty men, because tons of them like to go to places like the Philippines and Thailand and get themselves 12 and 13-year-old girls. Y'all can look into what I'm saying. Don't take my word for it. Be careful what might come up inside them searches. But back on subject. That is the reason why. That's why. You're associated with that. So it's really, really ironic and funny that for some reason that gets pinned back on American and European girls. We're the ones that are easy. Your women faint at the sight of white and black guys when they go overseas. They do anything to get some BBC, some white dick. They act like fangirls for these men. Even around the bases here, they're easy. And that's the reason why foreign men like them. They're easy to please. They're submissive. They're obsessed with foreign men. They want to look like foreign women. They might pretend to have high standards with you, but they fucking everybody when they study abroad and have that business trip. And even domestically. It's just the cultural difference where Asian women, they're expected to pretend like the idea of having sex is such a horrible, awful thing and it's so impure and so nasty. I would never do such a gross thing like that. Why these bitches got accounts on Paris and Tinder? What do you think these girls are? Why do you think all this papa activities type stuff? Which basically means sugar baby. Being a sugar baby is a huge business here in Japan. In fact, it's really funny. I just went on a date the other day. In fact, 2 different times. And I literally saw young Japanese girls that are probably my age, maybe a few years older than me, with men that look like their grandfathers, holding their hands, walking together. And I literally felt secondhand embarrassment. I'm like, shoot, I ain't gonna lie. I'd love to have that Louis Vuitton bag, but you couldn't pay me. Like, my pride would not let me do that. I got limits on how old you can be. I ain't dating no 70, 80-year-old geezer for shit. Sorry, can't do it. And in public, like, y'all not just effing behind closed doors. You really playing girlfriend for this man. You see these dudes riding around with Lamborghini sports cars, and who's in their passenger seat? It'd be some 20-year-old girl. Just nasty. And y'all dumb, y'all believe. And that's why these girls have out their profile. Oh, I'm new to Tinder. I'm new to Paris. I don't know how to do anything at all. I'm retarded. I don't know how to use this app. I don't know how to reply to messages. Y'all just gullible. So you really believe that girl's body count is at 2? Or she's a virgin? Oh, because she said she is, right? You don't question it. Nah, Asian girls just smart. They know how to play the system. A lot of niggas pretend like your body count is at 0. Pretend like you're not interested in sex. Make men have to buy you food, buy you gifts, and then move on to the next one. Foreign women typically want both. We're okay with admitting, yeah, we like sex. Sex feels great. We also like gifts and handbags and stuff. And we also, not myself, but I like the idea of feminism when it comes to what it used to be, just a matter of equal rights. I'm not trying to get to the point where equal rights becomes I become a man. But in the sense of I have the freedom to vote, I can work if I choose to, and I should be paid and treated fairly the same way that a man is if I do choose to take on this work. I don't mean it in the extreme sense to where gender roles are completely non-existent and I have to do everything that a man does, even although I'm the one carrying the babies. And we ain't getting into all that. That's for another video. So anyway, back on subject. What I'm trying to say is, like, y'all, my brain, this is so much to say. These girls know how to play the system. They pretend like they don't like sex. They pretend like they don't have sex to give this pure, innocent virginity type of look because your culture has taught them you need to be this way. Being open with your body, being open about sex, being open about what you're doing, your lifestyle, it's looked down upon and shameful. But what men fail to understand is, girls can say, I can tell you right now, I can tell you I've only had sex with 2 men in my entire life. How you gonna prove it? Y'all know any of the people that I've ever dated I had sex with? No, you don't. Y'all have only seen one picture of one person that I have. And speaking of which, I didn't even have sex with that man that often. So with that said, it's like, okay, I can tell you whatever I want to. You can choose to not believe it, but you can't prove it either way. You can't prove I'm telling the truth. You can't prove that I'm lying. Why do you not realize that Asian girls can and do the exact same thing? Especially in this country, because at least in my country, nobody gonna really give a shit. Here in Japan, shoot, you can't even show your neckline. Crop like this, have your shoulders down. It's like, you whore. That's inappropriate. And if anything happens, I'm at fault because I shouldn't have been tempting men. I shouldn't have put men inside of a position where they had to decide, either control yourself and be a civil human, or are this person. But if you are them, we understand. You're a man. You couldn't help it. She shouldn't have been exciting you. She shouldn't have had her shoulders exposed. That nasty whore. That's the way that your country is going to treat it. Like I said, your country has a problem with, checks when you're showing it to children as a form of entertainment in cartoons, Japanese cartoons, aka anime. When it's publicly accessible in convenience stores, the staff ain't gonna make your kids stop reading it. They're not paying attention to what's going on anyway. And when you have girls, underage minors, being told how to dress to avoid perverted grown men who probably have children themselves. Not to mention, that is the most backwards advice in the world. Because if you're wearing white, the last color you want to wear is white underneath it. You don't wear white panties or white bra with white pants. You need to wear black, actually. Or a nude-like color. We ain't finna get into all of that crap. But, and mind you, not every school has these rules, but a lot of them did. So back on subject. Yeah, it's just so crazy. Even with hairstyles, there's places where you can't wear a ponytail because it's seen as sexy as showing your neck and making them thinking about pulling your hair. And it's like, why is your teacher having these thoughts to be? Why is he a teacher? Why is he allowed to have this job? And you know the reason why these rules have to be put in place is because some perverted, nasty old Japanese man felt uncomfortable and was like, hey, look, these kids can't be wearing ponytails, making me think about some freaky shit that I'm into. That's not a problem. And even with men, this whole fake denial of, having been on the app for years or months. Everybody telling, oh, I'm brand new to Tinder. I've only been here for 2 weeks. I don't know how to use it at all. Oh my God, it's so complicated. I don't know what to... A country full of fucking liars. So... yeah, it's so funny to me how they really have inside their mind. And it's not just Japanese men, Japanese women. Because I've literally seen an interview where the women were saying that they thought they couldn't marry an American man, or a foreign man, period. I'm using American. Because, let's just be real, when people think about foreigners here, the first thing that comes to their mind is normally an American. Even although we are not the majority of foreigners here, for some strange reason, that's what people think. But I get it, because when they watch media and they look at media, almost all of their media comes from America. So when they picture a foreigner, they naturally think, oh, Americans. So back on subject. Yeah, saying, oh, I can't keep up with them as far as sex goes. They have sex just as much as Japanese people do. There's no difference. In fact, if anything, I would say the Japanese men are worse. It's a lot harder to find a serious relationship here, whether you're a foreigner or not. They're not serious about dating. In fact, a lot of them, their purpose in dating is just to have sex. Not to say that Americans don't want to have sex, but I mean, that is solely their purpose here. I've made videos talking about this before. They don't care about relationships. You make them mad, do one thing wrong, they're out the door and done. They justify cheating by saying, oh, well, I paid her for it. They literally have extreme double standards for what you're expected to do as a woman, what's okay, and what you're expected to do as a man, what's okay for them. They really think that despite the fact their country is really well known because of the way that they're viewed sexually, both in their animation, their pornography, their everyday people, that is what Japan is known for. It's the truth. It's facts. The whole term, even sex tourist, where do you think it derived from? Asia. White and even black men come to Asia for the purpose of securing easy pussy. I ain't saying that because you're Asian, you're easy. But the reality is, a lot of you all are willing to do anything to sleep with a foreigner. And so it's really funny that that stereotype has been flipped. And on reverse, they think that we are the ones that are really easy to get to sleep with or whatever, to have sex. And the only difference that I would say is that, in all honesty, we do it the same amount as foreign women do. In America, our divorces happen for the same reason and same type of situations. Sexless marriage, not having sex often enough, disinterested, low sex drive. American women have the same problems that Japanese girls do in marriages. It's nothing new. The difference is, unlike Japanese girls, we're not normally stubborn and we're willing to go through counseling and work on things and fix things to help our relationship and marriage. Whereas for Asian women, it's like, shit, like once I got my babies from you, I got your last name, I got your ring, I got your money. Go ahead and fuck them prostitutes. Go to the brothel. I don't give a crap. Go to the red light district. They don't care. You got suckered. And unlike them, we don't lie and pretend like we don't like sex or like we've never had it before. Not on the levels that they do. Because if you talk to almost any Asian women here, men, please back me up. I promise you, you will not find a girl that admits to having more than 3 bodies under her, if she even admits that. But they will almost always pretend like they have no interest in sex. Oh, I'm so shy. I'm not sure. I don't know what I'm doing. Do I hold your dick like this? Like, just everything. The little dumb, innocent, shy girl act. Because they've been taught to do that. It's their culture, and that's cool. But I find it funny how their men are dumb enough to buy these lies and stupidity, and they take the fact that American women are more open and honest instead of pretending like, oh, I don't want sex, or oh, really? You want to have sex? Okay, well, first you have to get me drunk and drug me and drag me to your bed. Because that's exactly what they expect you to do. I'm not even kidding you. I'll tell you guys about this in another video. Let me calm down. I'll tell you guys about this in another video, how I have literally been told by other Asian men, Japanese men in particular, it is common for couples to start their relationship by going out to a bar drinking together, confessing to wanting to have sex with each other, and then using the, oh, I'm so drunk, I'm so tipsy, I can't make it back home, let's go to Love Hotel. So simulating a borderline date rape scenario in order to become a couple, which you may or may not end up being, because depending on what the guy wants, he controls whether it will become a relationship or not. He can lie and say he wants to be your boyfriend, but doesn't have to actually honor it. Likewise, a girl can have you take her out for a meal with the promise of sex, but doesn't have to actually give it up to you. Women control sex, men control relationships. Interesting. Scary. But it's so funny how like stupid they are. They really believe that this is a foreign woman thing, and it's like, no, we just don't have the whole culture of pretending to be super shy and super against the idea of having sex and super, oh my god, sex, what's that? I've never done that before. We don't do that like how Asian girls do. She'll lie and pretend like she don't know what sex is if she's talking to you. Let a blonde haired, blue eyed guy message her and be like, yo, I love Asian girls. Like, can you ride my dick? Oh, yes, white master. That's exactly what they do for them niggas. I see it around me all the time. Let me give you a good example. And I hate to say this. Y'all, I stayed at Soccer House. And I talked about this a little bit, I think, in a video. There was an entire scandal going on. There is a white Frenchman that was working for Soccer House. I think he was either French or Italian. I can't remember anymore. He was European. We'll just leave it at that. He was playing the residents at Soccer House. He had a whole harem of Asian girls from various countries, including Japan. Not in the house, but a staff member. Because they didn't, at the time, they didn't allow Japanese people to live there. They might have changed their rules now with the pandemic, with losing money. He was sleeping with all of these girls after just having 1 or 2 dates. And they were coming back to him. They were easy as fuck. Why? Because he was a white guy, and that's what they wanted. And in their mind, because they were so far removed from Asian men, they could be themselves and be whores, keeping it real. But if it were Asian men, no. They checking for, what is it, the 4 or 5 C's or whatever, credit, condo, shit like that. What is it, credit? I always forget every time. Credit, condo, certificate, car, something else. Condo? Credit, condo, car, certificate. I can't remember. Y'all know what I mean. Anyway, they'd be checking for that. The man wasn't even tall, and he wasn't really handsome. He was an okay looking guy, nothing special. But they were drooling over that nigga dick. I can't even speak of whether the stuff was big or not. But one of my friends unfortunately fell victim to him. And I gave her a piece of my mind. I was like, why would you do that? Ew. But of course. Oh, he's a white guy. He has blonde hair. Secondhand embarrassment. But back on subject. Yeah, I'm like, okay, I can give you stories for days because I am a girl and most of my friends are male. But at the time, most of my friends are female. Back then. I can give you stories for days about some of the desperate, whore-like stuff that I've seen Asian women do to have sex with white and even black men. They put on this whole fake, phony, I don't like sex, I don't know what sex is, I'm a virgin, I've been with one person, 2 people, type thing. To you. To look good and pure and innocent for you. Put them in the U.S. Suddenly, they no longer wear their maxi dresses. They no longer pretend like they don't want to hook up anymore. Now they want to experience what is it like sleeping with foreigners. They want to sleep all around town. It's just a front for here because they're going to be looked down upon. It's shameful to do. You're being fooled. These girls ain't dumb, which is exactly why, like how I said, they know how to get what they want. They'll fuck you like crazy. You get these girls their babies, your last name, put a ring on her finger, she don't want nothing to do with you. She don't care if you cheat. She expects you to. She's cheating too. don't even want you anymore. She did her duty to become a mother in this world. And that's it. There was never any love to begin with. You got tricked. Happens to foreign men all the time, and they're shocked. And again, the reason why they're sought after, yes, there's no denying the fact, because even in my own personal opinion, I think a lot of them are cute. But that's not what people's real draw to them is, because there are definitely people that are Asian and even black or Hispanic or anything else that can run circles around a lot of these girls, especially when you consider the fact that some of the main things that make women attractive to most men, this is not for PC talk, we're speaking facts here, is the fact that they have curvaceous bodies. I don't mean curvaceous as in fat, I mean curvaceous as in breasts, butts, a defined waist. Asian girls do not normally have that. This sounds really bad. There's no nice way to put it. Likewise, okay, black women tend to be obese. I used to be obese, okay? I'm going to use myself as an example. That is not what I mean by curvaceous. I'm talking about having breasts, having a butt. When you lack those things that separate you from being a man. Naturally, as a white man, you should be more attracted to a white woman that has larger breasts, potentially a larger butt, a more, when I say defined, I mean like a difference. Like there's a dip, there's a little bit of hip, something going on there. Asian girls typically have straight up and down bodies, typically have flatter breasts. And the girls that appear to have bigger boobs, their bras here, almost all of them, are all extreme push-up bras, as we call them in the U.S. It's really hard to find a normal bra here. Okay, when you factor in all of that stuff, what does it really come down to? The biggest reasons why you'll see people say that they like Asian girls is because they say, oh, well, I like their personality. What they mean by that is we get along better. They like the submissive side of it because Asian girls know how to play that role. They know how to pretend like I'm going to suck your dick, I'm going to ride for you, I'm going to clean for you, cook for you, do everything you want until they get what they want, and then it stops. And does this go for everyone? No, but for a lot of them. The reality is, this side of them is actually learned and known from no other than what? Two things. Hentai, porn. Anime in general. It portrays them this way. It is called an influx of tourism. And a lot of people have a fetish for having, checks with people that appear to be underage. Huge market for that in Asia. Especially when you consider the fact it's a win-win situation. You have girls that are desperate and thirsty for white and black dick. You have black and white dicks that are thirsty to experience what it's like to be inside of this small, tight, little, petite, submissive Asian girl begging for my dick on her knees. And they do it. My purpose in this video is not to bash you for being Asian, but rather to say, or Asian girls in particular, I'm really getting at Asian men. I find it really interesting how I can't even call it a backhanded compliment. They say ignorant, racist things to foreign women, and it's like the biggest hoes in this world are living right in your backyard. Y'all have literally built this industry. Escorts, prostitution, pornography. You guys, you do it for cheap, for free, for experimental reasons. You let these dudes play y'all. These white men literally come over here for business and sex. And who do they look for? Specifically Asian girls. Why? Because they're fucking easy. So it's really interesting how we get that label and stereotype. But it's like, when it comes to casual sex, we do it at the same rates. There ain't no difference. The difference is we talk about it and we're honest about it. Whereas Asian girls are not. You get a group of Asian girls together, they will not sit around and talk with their friends about the guys they've had sex with. They'll talk about guys that they've dated, and they'll talk about guys they like. But you'll never get like girls like sitting around Asian women, specifically Japanese. They're not going to sit around and tell whole stories to each other and be like, girl, I fucked this dude. Let me tell you, man, my knees buckled. They ain't going to say any of that type of crap. When they sit around and talk about guys, it's going to be like, oh my God, he's so cute. He looks like Brad Pitt. And you talk about sex. Really? Oh, I've only had sex with one person. Oh, I'm afraid to do that. I can never. Lying asshole. Well, you got a Tinder account and a Pairs account. Got all this expensive ass shit. You don't have a career. And I'm supposed to believe that people just gave you all of this stuff for free? Like, you can get some, like, shoot. I got my apartment. But I'm thinking, like, there are things where it's okay, like, fine, exception not the rule. But come on, at some point you have to open up your eyes and be like, what is the likelihood you're getting all of the stuff from random men that you've dated, and you want me to believe you ain't do no favors for anybody to get this stuff? Nah, you playing the system. I literally just got through going on a date with a guy that was telling me about how he had dated another Japanese girl before me. And this girl was so much of a gold digger. She would ask him if he was available. And when he would say yes, she already had the restaurant booked, reservations made. And as soon as they were done eating the food, she did this a few times before he finally caught on, she would suddenly need to go home and leave immediately. She didn't want to hang out afterwards, didn't want to have sex, nothing. Was just using this dude for free food at expensive restaurants that she couldn't afford herself. Crazy. So, I guess I don't need a full hour for this, but yeah, just, it really, wait, what, 45 minutes right now? It just really blows my mind how they're so ignorant. They don't realize this is not appropriate to say to someone. It's very rude and very offensive for starters, even if it were true. So let's say that, foreign women have casual sex way often. Let's say that were true. Do you say that that's the reason why, that you're happy that that's their nationality for that reason? Wow. Like, how ignorant. Like, imagine me saying, wow, I'm happy that you're 100% Japanese and you don't have any white or black in you, so I don't have to worry about you stretching out my pussy with that little itty bitty, tiny whiny, itsy bitsy, teeny weeny dick of yours. It would be disrespectful, would it not? Or if I said, let's say that I'm a man, a straight man, dating an Asian girl, and I say, wow, you're 100% Japanese, so no white. Wow, I'm glad you're Asian, so I don't have to worry about you being a feminist. Like, you don't care about women's rights. You're just going to be submissive and suck my dick like how all Asian girls do, don't you? Even if you had a fetish for Asian men, that would literally, smack the fetish right out of you. And any sane person would be like, what did you just say to me? Excuse you? The amount of disrespect. And then the part that gets me, it's not that they're saying it to be rude. They are literally saying this in a 100% normal... They say like how white people used to say back in the day in America. I'm getting as, dark as you are. Like, I look like I'm black. Thing like that. They say it in an innocent way like that. Or like, wow, your hair, looks like a bush. Just whatever. They literally don't mean it in an insulting way. They mean it total innocence. But it's like, how can you be an adult? I can understand a child. How can you be 25 plus years old and be so ignorant that you don't realize, hey, that's not appropriate to say? These people have been surrounded by foreigners in school, through the media that they watch and listen to, and you're unaware of what stereotypes and generalizations are for some reason? And if you want to give the crap excuse, well, Americans talk about sex, whatever, and they show it in movies and music. Okay, and Japanese people do it in anime, which you grew up on. And you also do it in movies. Not so much in music. But even then, it's like, okay, you mostly listen to our music and our movies. Does it change the way that you interact with fellow Japanese people? No. Also, if you don't do this with Japanese people or other Asians, why would you find it appropriate to be disrespectful, rude, nasty, and sexual in your conversation when talking to foreign people? That's prejudice within itself. You're mistreating me and treating your own people better. You're no different than the sex tourists that come over here, the white and black guys. They ain't never gone, a fuck spree in the U.S. But shoot, bring them over here to Asia with the yellow cabs here. They gonna have themselves a good time, not give two shits about it. Leave y'all girls pregnant with no baby daddy, fatherless, whatever. A lot of them just end up getting abortions, I'm sure. The other crazy thing is, the only time where I see them treat Asians the same way is when they're poor. Because there are tons of Japanese men that have gone to the Philippines and Thailand and have created babies there and left those women as single mothers. And you see their kids all the time in forums online, and they come here and they have no relationship to their father. They don't know where their father is, etc. They just know that they're half Japanese. A lot of those men probably have full families back here in Japan. A wife and children. They don't want any involvement with some poor Thai woman or something like that. They have no interest in a relationship with that kid. Because your mother was just a whore in their eyes. I'm sorry, that sounds so blunt and mean, but it's true. It was a one-night stand. or a temporary fling relationship for their business trip. They played you. Japanese men are some of the, and it's not just Japanese, because I've seen it with Koreans and Chinese people too, but I'm getting on Japanese in particular. They are some of the most selfish, sick, prejudiced, racist people I've ever met. And the part that bothers me the most is, again, not just that they're ignorant, but that a lot of them, they don't want to be corrected. They will tell you what they think negatively and typically whatever about your country and your people, but they don't want to hear anything about their own country and their people. And when you try to correct them and say, no, like, your people do the same thing, they're in disbelief, like, oh, that's not true, like, you just must be offended by what I said. They can't apologize. They don't really want to listen to you. Like, their brain just kind of like tunes out, like, yeah, sure, they do it the same. Yeah, in fact, if anything, y'all do it a lot more. Because unlike in the U.S., a big part of why a lot of Americans don't sleep around with that or don't want to, or was even viewed negatively, is because America is a Christian country. And even people that don't consider themselves to be religious, they carry a lot of religious beliefs. And that's one of them. We have been taught that having casual sex is bad. So normally people sort of justifying it is by being in a legitimate relationship. That is not true for Japan. There is no religion here. Even the whole Shintoism, Buddhism, whatever, even those people that claim to be those things, they just claim it as a sense of claiming it. It's not really a matter of it being practiced. They have no religion. There's nothing holding them back and stopping them from sleeping around people casually for the fun of it. And they do. They lie about it a lot too. These are the same men, not just women, men will never tell you that they ruined their own relationship. They will not say, I broke up with her because I moved, I cheated on her and I got caught, she broke up with me. Nope. Instead, they'll write inside their profile, I started Tinder because my ex broke up with me. My heart is broken. I haven't met someone. They say whatever. Anything to make themselves sound good. They will never, ever, 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 ever blame themselves. It's always the woman. She did something wrong. She ended the relationship. Why did she end it? You don't want to talk about that, though. It's just she ended it. If you're going to blame foreigners for being the ones, for being easy, for being whores, for sleeping around, look at your yellow taxis, your yellow cabs. Explain them. Explain their obsession with trying to look white. Explain their obsession with trying to go overseas. Explain their obsession with going overseas and suddenly becoming a completely different person. They dress half naked. They sleep around with everybody on campus, and it's not new. My mother even recalled this back in her day when she was going to nursing school. Asian girls would be getting played by all of the men on campus. One white guy be having like 3-4 Asian girlfriends. They're easy. If you gonna call foreign women easy, might want to look at your own little circle. They do the same shit. The difference is they don't do it in front of you. They do it behind your back. They go overseas to handle it. A lot of them on Tinder. Why do you think they're on Tinder? Do you think they're just talking to other Asian men and having these serious, legitimate relationships where they're being classy? No. They're putting on the fake, I'm this pure, innocent, virgin Asian girl for talking to you. But you best believe a white guy be like, hey, sugar tits, can you come to my bed? I get off work at 7. Yes, white daddy, they'll be there in 2.5 seconds. I went there because I feel like it needs to be said. It really irritates me that it seems like the only way Japanese people can start conversation with you is they have to try to put you down while bringing themselves up. And this person wasn't even really trying to put me down. They probably saw it as being a compliment in a sense. Like, oh, great, you're a foreigner. You love sex then. What positivity will be taken from that? You're telling me that you like the fact that I'm basically easy is what you just said to me. And like I said before, ask people if they like sex is like saying, oh, great, you're an American. That means you like food then. Who doesn't like food? Who doesn't like sex? Both of them make you feel good. In fact, for women, it's been proven, I forgot what it was, but eating food actually can give you the same good feeling that you have from having sex. So, I swear I'm not playing with you. I forgot, where did I get that? I think I was watching a video from Infographics or whatever. Like, it's literally been researched. This isn't just, making up BS here. I'm not saying you can have an orgasm from eating food, but I'm saying that it gives your body similar feel-good hormones that you do have from having sex as a woman. So, yeah, which is probably a big reason why women like to be taken out for meals. But, It really upsets me because it makes it where I don't even want to like date a Japanese person, because it feels like dating a white person at this point. You literally have to pick their brain and see, should I really trust this person? Or sure, they'd be nice to me, but how did they treat the other foreigner before they met me? Or how did they treat foreigners when they were in school? How did they treat their teachers? How did they treat whoever? What does their family really think? What do they really think? What did their friends think? What was their conversation like before, and what will it be like after they meet me? Like, do you see what I mean? You feel like you're not even really getting to know the real person, because a lot of these dummies don't even know their own women. They think that Japanese women don't like sex. They don't have sex. It's like your whole country's foreign business is built around this idea of both being easy, submissive. And what do you think they mean by submissive? It's really dealing more so with sex, the act of pleasing men. Your country is known for sex. That's why it's on a map, because of porn. When adult men think about Japan, or even women, first thing that comes to mind, hentai porn. Even your video games, a big part of why they're popular. Look at games like Dead or Alive. Biggest animes like Dragon Ball, Naruto. What are heavy focuses and themes inside those shows? And the sad thing is, there's children watching this stuff. We don't show our kids that type of mess. We don't have school uniform rules prohibiting little girls from wearing days of the week underwear with ponies and stuff on it because we're afraid of a grown man touching them. We don't have hairstyle restrictions because we're afraid of grown teachers getting off on the fact that a girl has a ponytail on her head. The fuck? Oh, but yes, Americans are the ones that can't control themselves. We love sex. We just gotta fuck everybody, right? Sounds like you're talking about yourselves. And again, the part that really makes me upset is, it blows my mind, they use the fact that we're supposed to be the easy ones to justify explicitly talking to us in rude sexual ways. They will literally walk up to you and say, wow, you have really big breasts, I want to fuck you. And then when you say that what they're saying is rude, it's disrespectful, whatever. Oh, I'm sorry, I thought it was okay because you're a foreigner, you're American. I had this image in my mind that all foreigners like sex. So Japanese people don't? Are y'all robots or something? Are y'all some sort of like subhuman species that doesn't get off to anything? Y'all don't have sex? Y'all don't think about sex or nothing? What? In fact, like I said, I would argue that Japanese people, specifically men, are on the hunt for sex more often than Americans are. They act like they truly sex deprived, which is crazy because they have more opportunities to legally do it than Americans do. Not a matter of Japanese women, but I mean, you can easily, cheaply pay for it. Anywhere between $100 to $400. Publicly, without having to hide or being at risk of the police, catching you, or there's no sting operation, none of that type of stuff. You can easily do it here. You go to any major city, you got girls begging you to walk into their clubs to do those type of things. It's easy to find connections too, and to get even illegal services done, if you know what I mean. So it's like, wow, it just amazes me that the country in which it's definitely significantly more legal than it is in America to do those type of illegal things in America. Like I said, escorts, prostitutes, etc. Sexual services. It's open here. Which is why I said that prostitution is legal. Because they know it exists. They advertise it. Y'all literally, you can literally just walk up and down the street. Be right around the corner from a kid-friendly place. And it'd be a VHS shop that sells nothing but toys and adult videos. That's legal in Japan. You are not going to find that in the US. Those sort of sketchy places are off, beaten track type areas, and typically only like in California. Not a very popular thing anymore. It's everywhere in Japan. They are human. Japanese girls do the exact same stuff that American girls do. They like sex just like how we do. They have sex just like how we do. Your culture and country has taught them to pretend like they have no interest in it because it's supposed to be seen as ladylike and noble and feminine and classy. Which that can be debated and argued, but that's not the point. My point is, pretending to not have done something, pretending to not like something, doesn't mean that you haven't done it, you don't like it, and that it's not true. You're just an effing liar. As I gave an example, I can lie and say, oh, I've never had sex before. It doesn't make me a truth teller. It doesn't mean that, oh, you're a pure innocent. No. I just lied to you. The Japanese girl you talk to, it's like, oh, I just downloaded Tinder recently. I don't know what I'm doing. I know nothing at all. Please teach me. It's my first time. Liar. She might not be interested in just sleeping around with you guys because it's going to get around culturally. Oh, that girl's a whore. I dated her before. But you put them in a mix with white people, black people. You ain't even got to leave Japan. Go to any international party here in Japan and look at how the Japanese girls be acting around these white and black guys. They become straight up hoes. Floating all over them, sitting in their lap. They'll go to love hotels with them. Who do you think makes up? How do y'all think love hotels are in business? We don't have no love hotels in the U.S. How do y'all think these places stay open? Asians, Japanese people, you guys are keeping their doors open. It's not foreigners. When I've gone to love hotels, I can count the amount of times I've ran into foreigners. Normally, overwhelming majority, in fact always overwhelming majority, Japanese couples. Who do I hear doing the fake screams and moans to that 2.5-inch dick? Japanese girls. It ain't no foreign women. Who do you see on these, escort lists? When you go through these brothels, or you can even visit their websites. Who do you see on those lists? Japanese girls. So why is this a foreign woman issue? Y'all do the same shit. But for some reason, like I said, we get the flack and blame for it. It's put off on foreigners. Nasty foreigners. If they just love sex, they love fucking. I mean, we're honest about it. We don't pretend like we don't have interest in it. Japanese girls could be having the time of their life, getting the best dick ever, and they pretend, oh, I don't really like sex. Well, yeah, you might decide that you like handbags and food more. Understandable. But if you're still fucking people at the same rate as foreign women, your words aren't matching your actions. She might not play hoe for you, but she doing it for Big Daddy White Man and Big Daddy Black Dick. So, that's it. This video ain't really going nowhere. I'm just really disgusted. It's like, how can you be so intelligent, but so ignorant at the same time? Not understanding that what you're saying is stereotypical, it's prejudice, it's rude, it's offensive. And the fact that they're not saying it to be rude and insulting. They're really just saying it as a part of conversation. Like, wow, I'm glad I'm talking to an American. I have somebody that I can fuck on a regular basis. And it's also disrespectful because my profile explicitly stated that I'm not looking for somebody that's trying to sleep around casually like that. And then you tell me that the reason why you're glad to talk to me is because I'm an American for that reason. So now you're telling me you didn't read my profile, which is strange because you talked about my career as being a model, which means that you read my bio. You just picked and chose what parts of it you wanted to believe, which is also even more offensive. So, yeah, and then again, no apology when I caught you out on it. Instead, it was the fake Japanese. Yeah, I disagree with you by saying, oh, you think so? Really? Asians, that's something else, y'all. So, go ahead, fight with me. Or again, I pissed off the Asians here, but no, I gotta keep it real because I'm tired of seeing this stuff, and it's really funny because, I mean, you guys are literally known for sex more than anybody else. The difference is that my country, my culture as an American, we do not restrict people. I can dress how I want to without the fear of somebody emming me, R-ing me, touching me. And for the people that do look down on me and shame me for dressing like that, there are tons more people that are supportive of me dressing the way that I want to. Men don't act like they've never had sex, like they've never seen a woman before. Because guys here act like they're 12-year-old virgins or something. You show them a girl wearing any sort of revealing clothing. It doesn't have to be like legitimately skimpy. Like, for example, this will be too much. Dudes' noses will start bleeding. They feel the need to touch you. They gotta take pictures and video record you. Just everything. Like they've never seen porn before. And it's like, y'all literally breathe this inappropriate content in. You should be desensitized to. Like, imagine if us as kids, we didn't have to sneak and watch porn. And it was just readily available to us on Cartoon Network. I'm not talking about Adult Swim. I'm talking about our regular, everyday cartoons. Had perverted characters stealing girls, grown men stealing underage girls' panties and bras. And effing them. For regular cartoon television in the daytime. And our parents bought us this merchandise too. And read us these stories. You would think that would desensitize you, would it not? Like, for example, I'm not super freaked out over the sight of seeing something like a gun or even hearing a gunshot, because I grew up in Chicago. That's where I'm from. I'm desensitized to a lot of it. Does it still scare me? Yeah, but like not the way that it should. For example, like how it probably would somebody from Asia. Okay, for some strange reason, they act like they can't control themselves because they've been raised to disrespect women, to be arpists. Their mothers don't correct it, their teachers don't correct it, their workplace doesn't correct it. Instead, anytime something happens to women, women are blamed for it. It's always, what were you wearing? Where were you? You shouldn't have done X, Y, and Z. No real blame on the man. In fact, the only time a man really gets blamed is when it's brought up in the news because somebody recorded them. Like, for example, that little high school girl that was chasing down that guy who I guess either touched her or took a picture of her, whatever. Got 2 seconds of attention, then done. That man probably, there's no, real registry for them, so there's no S offenders or anything like that here. Just move to a new city, get another job. People forget about you, nobody cares. Simple as that. People are being touched on trains. Okay, let's just make some women-only cars. Let's not address the real problem going on the train. Do you see the issue here? Women are constantly blamed for it all. It could be 90 degrees outside. Men can walk around wearing, revealing clothes. They could wear tank tops. Nobody gives a crap. But as a girl, your shoulders should not be out. You need to be wearing a long maxi dress. Don't pull your hair up into a ponytail. It's sexy. Like, you see what I mean? Like, just weird crap like that. Everything is blamed on you as a woman. Men don't have to take any responsibility for their actions, for being dogs, pigs, animalistic. You are the problem for revealing yourself. It's never the problem of the man for not being able to control himself. Sorry, got a little skin on my lip. Never their problem. It's always you. How is that not an issue? So yeah, of course, your girls, when I say I mean Asian women, Japanese women in particular, they appear to be these innocent, virgin-like, docile, submissive dolls. Because they've been taught to put on this fake, phony front of rejecting the idea of being sexy, rejecting the idea of sex. But when you take those stupid rules and laws away and you put them abroad, or you put them with a group of girls that are doing their own thing, what happens? Asian women do the exact same stuff that foreign women do. Because that's the real them. That's who they really are. They no longer feel the need to pretend and lie and act like, oh, I don't like sex, oh, I don't do this, I don't date, I've only had one boyfriend in my entire 30 years of, like, you know what I mean? They do fake and phony crap like that. For that reason. You restrict people, humiliate them for being open and honest with what they want or, like. They stop telling you what they want and like. That's just facts. Asian men also, it depends on the partner, but they can be some pretty selfish partners in bed. Why would a girl want to have sex with you when not only is your dick small so you can't get her off, but you're selfish? You're not going to go down on her. You're not going to care about her having an orgasm. Everything's centered around you. So yeah, after I get my kids, I have your money, I got your name, and I have your ring. Why would I want to have sex with you? Like, do you see what I'm saying? So I feel Asian women when it comes to that. Again, my video is not made for the purpose of bashing them, but rather to say it's so hypocritical, the hypocrisy in you attacking or stereotyping foreign women when your own women do the same, if not worse, than what foreign women do. It's crazy. And their takeaway from it, instead of it being like, maybe Asian women like this too, but my culture and society pressures and forces them to not talk about these things, to pretend not to like them in order to seem feminine, submissive, docile, whatever type thing. Whereas with foreign women, we don't have these same little stupid rules. Of course, we have the same issues in America. Women are women. Women generally don't like sex as much as men do. One of the biggest problems with marriages in the US, just like in Japan, is a lack of sex, believe it or not. You have hypersexualized foreign people because you guys want to look like foreigners. You have also decided to obsess with their media, their music, their movies, and you have decided to misinterpret it. Using American media to justify how you treat Americans would be like me using anime to justify how I treat Japanese people. So because I've watched Hoppo stare people's bras and panties, does that mean it's okay to steal lingerie in Japan? I can just come to Japan and start stealing people's lingerie from laundromats and take my neighbor's underwear from hanging out in the line? Is that okay to do? Because I saw it in anime. Happens in movies all the time. Is that normal now? There's only women train cars. So does that mean that if I get in a regular train car, I can touch girls, feel in their booty, grab their nipples, and do whatever I want to, and, snip their panties? Because, if they didn't want to be touched, it should have been a women-only car. That's why they exist here, right? Oh, now it doesn't make sense to you? Now do you see how ignorant what you're saying is? That's not real life, and that's also distorting the purpose and reasoning for things. You punish people for being honest about what they want and what they like and for being themselves, then of course they're going to stop being themselves and stop liking what they really like or admitting to it. You allow women to dress and act as they want to and to talk about sex, then what happens? They become more open with it, and in turn, you can honestly have better, more rewarding sexual relationships. Women talk about sex a lot more nowadays than they used to. They also show a lot more skin nowadays than they used to. We wear bikinis. We have halter tops and crop tops and backless dresses and, this, that, and the other. Those things exist in Japan, but if you wear them, you're going to get a ton of unwanted attention, and people will look down on you, which is really interesting. So it's like, your favorite celebrities and actors wear these sexy, inappropriate outfits, and you praise them and scream them on and love the way that they look. But if you see somebody in your real everyday to day life, then it's a problem. And it reminds me of myself. Like, for example, I have an OnlyFans account. Nobody calls Victoria's Secret angels. They're not whores, they're not prostitutes, they're not sex workers. My OnlyFans has that same type of content. I don't do porn on there. There's no video of me having sex with somebody else. There's no video of me fingering myself or, any type of crazy shit like that. It's literally just me posing, either with or without clothing on, but all of my parts are covered. You get the exact same type of advertisement for lingerie companies. But those girls are not seen as sex workers, but I am. Interesting. But let's say that I was. Something that you do for money and work is not the same for what you do in your day-to-day life. Being a P-star doesn't mean that you don't have your own tastes, interests, likes, wants, and that you want to be treated like a human being and have a meaningful, fulfilling, normal relationship. That's not even what I do, but I'm giving it as an example. So, this conversation can go on forever. I am done. Now it is over an hour. So, give me your 2 cents. What do you think in the comments down below? Tell me, how do you feel to this? If you're a foreign woman living here, please share your 2 cents. What are some crazy things that you've heard from Japanese men? Like, what are some stereotypical crazy things they've said to you regarding dating, relationship, sex, or whatever? For foreign men, I'd love to hear what your experience is with foreign women. With Japanese women. What do they say to you when it comes to having, casual sex or sleeping, go to love hotels? What have your marriages, relationships have been like? I would really like to hear that. So please feel free to argue, disagree, share your own opinion, your own stories, experiences down in the comments below. This is a very sensitive topic, but like I said, I feel like it needs to be said, and I'm tired of trying to protect Asians' feelings at the expense of my own. So it's okay for them to stereotype me, and I'm supposed to just laugh it off and be like, oh, yeah, maybe that is true. But if I say something back to them and be like, well, actually, you shouldn't be talking about this because this was true, or this is a stereotype for you guys, then I become the bad guy. So, yeah. That's it. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Again, please make sure you check out my other video in which I go into some more detail talking about this that I did a couple of years ago on that double standard for, Asian men thinking that foreign women are easy and that we're all just whores. And it's like, your women do that a lot more. And we do the same stuff ultimately. I mean, we have the same reasons. We like money, food, gifts. We like to experiment too. We like to feel good too. We're also in a foreign country. And on top of that, I feel like really a lot of foreign women here, their reasoning for having casual sex, just like how it is in the US, is because they hope to have a real relationship. And a lot of these Asian men will lie to you and pretend like, oh, well, if you sleep with me, I'll be your boyfriend. Or they'll tell you beforehand, you're my girlfriend, try to get you to lower your standard, drop your guard, and be willing to do these things with them. So, yeah, and then of course, none of that stuff ever gets addressed. So, yeah, please tell me your opinion, share your experience down below, and yeah. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, subscribe if you have not already. If you enjoyed this video, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Comic95. I have a Snapchat and TikTok at Comic the Savior. I have a blog at Comic95.com. I have a Facebook fan page at Comic95 the Savior. I think I already said that. And yeah, you can go to my YouTube channel's homepage. I have a playlist on different topics here in Japan, working, dating, studying, just living life here in general in Japan. And you can also watch more journals and rants like this where I talk about various topics. From my YouTube channel's homepage, just use the search bar and you can search for pretty much any topic you could think of. I've probably already done a video on it. If you have any more questions or things you would like for me to talk about in a future video, please leave me a comment. If it's personal and private, you can send me an email. My email address is also listed in the description of this video. And if it's something that is video worthy, I would definitely make a video responding to your comment and answering it or giving my own opinion on that topic. Again, I want to say this is not to start a race war or debate with you guys, but I do want to, draw some attention to that. I don't like that, people that are really concerned about their country's image have no issue with tainting, damaging, stereotyping, and hurting another countries to praise their own. And I don't like the idea of mistreating people from a foreign country underneath the, disguise of, oh, well, you guys sing about this and you act it out in movies when your country does the exact same thing and you don't treat your people that way. You only do it to foreign people. So that says prejudice and stereotype right there. So, yeah. That's it. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And I hope you'll watch another video.